Hello and shalom, friends. This is Mayim Vega, your naturopathic herbalist and holistic life coach. And right now, I'd like to share with you or talk about a remarkable book that I learned about in my mastermind with. I'm in a mastermind with Dr. Josh Axe, one of my. He's my mentor and someone that I look up to. He has a holistic health business, and him and another one of my mentors that I've looked up to for a long time, Jordan Rubin, who wrote the book, The Maker's Diet. Anyways, they have a leadership mastermind group that I'm a part of. And we meet weekly online and also periodically in person. Last month, we were in Tennessee for the meeting. They have a farm there, Dr. Axe and Jordan Rubin, they have a farm, a regenerative farm that practices good farming practices. And on that farm, they grow the material for their supplement brands, such as you may have heard of Garden of Life and Ancient Nutrition, excellent supplement line, probiotics, etc. Anyways, so in our mastermind group, we have other holistic health practitioners, a lot of chiropractors, medical doctors, and also unlicensed practitioners like myself, naturopathic herbalists, people who, there's one person who went to medical school but didn't complete it because he wanted to, just kind of do a more natural, non-allopathic method instead. Same, very similar. I didn't go to medical school, but, unlicensed, but also a holistic healer. And we also have some influencers in the group, health coaches, social media influencers, and we talk business and we talk about our faith as well. And we also talk about, we talk about health, of course, we're all health practitioners, and how we help people and how we can create a greater impact and help more people. We talk about our businesses. We talk about how we can accomplish more. We talk about how we can reach more people and, heal people, save lives, basically. And one of the books that Dr. Axe recommended in his talk this week is a book called Built to Last: Successful Habits of Visionary Companies by Jim Collins. He's the author. And this book is about his 6-year research project at the Stanford University Graduate School of Business. James Collins and Jerry Porras took 18 truly exceptional and long-lasting companies and studied each of them in comparison to one of its top competitors. So they examined companies from their very beginnings up to the present day, as startups, as mid-sized companies, and as large corporations. And throughout, the authors asked, what makes the truly exceptional companies different from the comparison companies? And what were the common practices that these enduringly great companies followed throughout their history? And it's filled with hundreds of very specific examples, and it's organized into a very coherent framework of practical concepts, and it can be applied by managers and entrepreneurs such as myself at all levels. So it's a good book, and it basically provides a master blueprint for building organizations that will prosper long into the 21st century and beyond. And that's very intriguing to me because I am, I'm building my legacy business, meaning I'm trying to create a business that will outlast me, that will outlive me. Okay, something that I can leave as a legacy to my family. Back in the old days, people derived their last names from their family profession, right? If you were an ironsmith, your last name was Smith. If you were a baker, your last name was Baker. That's how we get a lot of our names today. Not in my country, not in Asia, but in America and Europe and places like that. And so the family was known for that, right? So I thought about it and I thought, I want my family to be known for that. I want my family to be known for holistic health and healing, for knowing and understanding about this topic. Because I believe that that is one way that my family will be able to hold on to these principles when it's not just, it's not something they just grew up with, but it's something that the family name is known for. Okay. So this is like leaving a greater imprint on my family about the things that I've taught them, as they grow up, how to be holistic, how to eat healthy, how to live healthy, what's healthy and not healthy, what's toxic and not. And there's always new things that are springing up. There's always new toxins that people are inventing and creating. But really the North Star is the same, which is that we want to go back to an ancestral life. We want to go back to a way of life that is reflective of the kind of lives that our ancestors lived back in the days of the Bible, for us, because, we're Jewish and that is important to us. I don't want to say back in the days of the Garden of Eden, because we don't live in Eden. We live in this world. And in this, in this world, not, there is like, the days to come and stuff like that, these shared end time beliefs that Jews and Christians have. But, we don't live in that time yet, that perfect time, that time of great peace. We live in a time of struggle. We live in a time of hard work, labor, right? With great labor, you shall give birth, is what Genesis says. This is the time that we live in. We live in a very unnatural and toxic world. So we have to really do a lot of things that are natural to our bodies and healthy for our bodies, but they aren't, they're things that we wouldn't normally have to do if we didn't have to combat so many of the bad things that are in our world today. Okay. And that's part of, I'm creating a new coaching program on detoxification. It's going to be called Do This, Detox That. And I'm coming out with a book as well. And it's going to be, it's basically about the holistic way to detoxify and strengthen your body, mind, and soul. It's not really a new business that I'm building. It's more just like in a way, it's a new business because it's a new product, right? It's going to have kind of a life of its own. It's going to be different from my certification program, although they are related. My certification students will have access to this program because it's definitely an important part of becoming a holistic healer. So I have a holistic healer certification program. And then I'm going to have this kind of new detoxification program. And it's things that I've already been teaching in the certification program, but it's for everyone. It's not just for people who want to be certified holistic healers. It's for people who just want to experience holistic health and healing. Anyways, I don't want to go in too much about that because this lesson wasn't supposed to be about that. It was supposed to be about the book, right? Built to Last by Jim Collins. And so I wrote a blog, a little article about it. And so I wanted to basically discuss the things that I wrote about in that blog. So let me pull it up real quick so I can review it and kind of just comment on it as I review it. Okay, so one of the first things that, or not the first things, but at the heart of Collins' research is the concept of the BHAG. He calls it BHAG, BHAG. Really funny. I call it visionary goals. That's what I call it. I've believed in this before I ever came across Collins, but he calls it BHAG. And BHAG stands for, it's spelled BHAG, BHAG. And it stands for the big, hairy, audacious goal. And this is not just a goal, but a vision, a dream, a purpose that propels an entity forward and that inspires its members and that drives innovation. It's about more than just profits or market share. It's about making a difference. It's about leaving a legacy. That's exactly what we were just talking about, leaving a legacy. And I do want to leave a legacy to my family. But for my business, I really want to leave a legacy to this world. And what legacy is that? Well, it's a legacy of holistic health and healing. It's a legacy of empowerment and unlocking every person's inner healer, which we have inside of us. It's the Spirit of God, basically, that will, kind of hint at us and tell us and nudge us and tell us, you know what? This is not right. This is not how it's meant to be. There's something off. You need to do something different. Okay. You're not balanced. You're not living a balanced life. You're not eating a balanced diet. You don't have balanced thoughts. And these things are causing you to be unhealthy. They're causing you to be sick. And that we would listen to that inner voice, the voice of God within us, and let it direct us to the right things, to the right people, to the right knowledge. And that's, I believe what led me to create, first of all, to find holistic health and healing for myself, for my family, and then to create my business at Arukah.com. Okay, empowering people to unlock their inner healer. This is the legacy that I want to leave in this world. There's a Bible verse that says, I'm probably not going to quote it super exact, but everyone with their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and not afraid. Into plowshares they shall beat their swords, and nations shall learn war no more. Okay, it's a beautiful verse. It paints a picture of the Messianic era, as both Jews and Christians believe. It will be an era of peace. We're not going to be slaves, whether to a corporation or to, an oppressive entity that has us in chains. There's different forms of slavery. Debt is a form of slavery as well, right? That's what the Bible says. So it's talking about an era where we're not going to have, we're not going to be slaves anymore. And we're going to have our own vine and fig tree. We're going to grow our own food, right? We're not going to be doing all this work for another entity to get rich and just give us the scraps, for example. We're going to be empowered. And we don't have to depend on some oppressive governmental system that is designed to keep us just poor enough so that we can be ruled easily. You know what I mean? We're going to be a tribal people, once again, one that is family focused and in touch with the land, in harmony with nature, and no longer at war with other nations. We will beat our swords into plowshares. That's symbolic, even though we don't necessarily fight with swords anymore. It means we're going to give up the metal, give up the guns, the tanks, because we won't need them anymore. And we're going to farm, right? We're going to grow our own food, just like Dr. Josh Axe and Jordan Rubin do on their regenerative farm. And that is going to be our occupation. It's going to be beautiful. It's similar to the Garden of Eden, because in the Garden of Eden, that's what they did, right? They cultivated the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve did. But how does that look? How does that Messianic era picture look when we're talking about our health, when we're talking about our bodies, when we're talking about our physical, mental, and spiritual well-being? Well, it's going to look like we won't need doctors. We're not going to need weapons. We're not going to need doctors in that day. We're going to be, we're going to be using our food as medicine, and medicine will be our food, right? We are going to be teaching each other about, our children, the healers. The word doctor really means teacher. That's where the word doctrine comes from. And doctors aren't going to be medical doctors, drug pushers, big pharma, agents. They're going to be teachers of holistic health and healing. They're going to be teaching people about the human body and diet and proper nutrition and herbs and how to be in tune with nature for optimal health, how to ground ourselves, how to get adequate sunshine and exercise and all these good things, the healing power of the energy of the ocean and waterfalls and mountains and forests and all these wonderful gifts that God gave us that are actually powerfully healing. That's what the Messianic era is going to look like. And the legacy that I want to leave is to pave that way for that future. We're not just supposed to be, as human beings, as children of God, we're not just supposed to be like sitting idly by waiting for the Messianic era to happen. We're supposed to be doing our part and bringing God's light into the world. And God's light is all truth. All truth is God's light. It doesn't matter what the source is. If it is true, it is from God. And if it is a lie, well, that's just a deception, right? But if it's truth, it is God's truth. And we need to be bringing the truth into this world. And that's what holistic healers need to be doing. This is my BHAG, my big, audacious, hairy goal, as Jim Collins says, my visionary goal, as I say, something that, it may be impossible. Just like, Abraham in the Bible, he was promised the promised land, and that his seed would be like the number of the stars. You can't even count them. That's a audacious goal for God to give Abraham. And Abraham was like, I don't know about that. That sounds impossible for me to achieve. And it was definitely impossible for him to achieve, but God gave him that vision. God gave him that dream, that goal, and he faithfully walked in it. And even after his time was past, that vision is still being accomplished, and it's already been accomplished, but it hasn't even had its full fulfillment yet, right? It's going to be accomplished to an even greater degree. And that's the same thing that I've set a goal for in my business. And it's also, a God-given vision, that we're not going to need the pharmaceutical system anymore. We're going to be in tune with nature. We're going to know, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. It's because we have lost touch with the knowledge of God's healing creation, his healing powers, his healing ways that he's given us through our awesomely and wonderfully made bodies and the gifts that he's given us through creation. And that's why health coaching is my preferred model of delivering healing to the world, is because coaching is about mentoring. It's about teaching, giving strategies, supporting, etc. And so if you are a business owner, I would like you also, because I do business coaching as well. I would like you also to think of your business in much greater terms than just how do I make money. Okay. Because this is what entities that last, as Jim Collins says, this is how they think. It's not just about this immediate goals, 1-year goals, although those are important. They're also about visionary goals, big, audacious goals, something that, if you were guaranteed you would not fail, what would you accomplish, right? If you were promised that you would not fail, what would you want to accomplish in this world, in this lifetime? And if it is a godly goal, a good goal, not just, I want to make $1 million. No. Do I want to help 1 million people heal? Do I want to serve 1 million people and help them get out of debt? Be able to afford good housing in a good neighborhood? Be able to, there are so many applications to this. It doesn't just have to be, it can be applied to all types of businesses, right? That is what is going to propel your business and make it a highly successful and one that will last throughout time. And those are actually the more profitable ones, right? The most profitable businesses, they go on for generations. They can be passed down to your family members. et cetera, et cetera. Now, another thing that I wanted to point out that Collins emphasizes in his book is the importance of a strong core ideology. This is the set of values and principles that an entity stands for, that guides its decisions, and that provides a moral compass in times of uncertainty. It's about staying true to your beliefs, even when it's hard, even when it's not the most profitable path. Because when you have values, the profit will follow. It might not be as immediate as when you're doing something that it goes against your values, but it will be lasting value. And it'll be a gift from God that will not come with sorrow. Because sometimes when you do things in your business that go against your core values, you may temporarily succeed in some people's eyes, and you may make money, for example, but it's going to come with sorrow and regret. It's going to come with a feeling that and memories that you won't be proud of, right? So you've got to hold on to your values. And it's not only about having a strong core with values, it's also about stimulating progress. Visionary entities are not static. They are constantly evolving, constantly pushing the boundaries, constantly seeking to improve. They're not afraid of change. They embrace it and they drive it. As a Jew, this very much reminds me of the oral law. Okay. In Judaism, we have the Torah, which is, our very static constitution, as it were, found in the Bible, the first 5 books of Genesis. It's like our nation's constitution, the Jewish people's constitution. But on top of that, we have an oral law, which God gave to the courts of Israel. In the Torah, it says that Moshe that Israel was supposed to set up courts throughout the land. And these courts would interpret the Torah and apply it to different situations. They would also create additional laws and statutes that were needed and were appropriate for the time. This is very much how our legal system works today, because it was patterned after the Bible. We have the Constitution, and then we have laws that are created and sometimes amended, and replaced, but they're theoretically, at least, supposed to all follow the principles of the Constitution. And the reason why we do this is because society evolves, right? Like, we used to be okay with slavery, now we're not. The same thing with the Torah. The Torah actually allowed for slavery, and later on our sages said, you know what? We don't really need slavery anymore. Let's figure out ways to get rid of it. And that's what the oral law does. Okay. And so transferring that now to a company, we've got to be flexible. When you start a company, you have a set of values, you have a set of goals and a way, a method perhaps of doing things. You can't be married to that. Okay. That you can't be married to every little thing. You can be married, committed to the business as a whole, but not every single little process, especially when you see that there's something more effective that you can apply, especially when a need arises for new methods, new changes, new rules, new policies in the business, even new people. Sometimes you have to get rid of people in your business. I've had to do that several times. I've definitely, I always do it in as graceful a manner as I can, so that almost every single person I've had to, cut ties with, various contractors and employees and such, probably with the exception of one, I am in good terms with most of them. Some I feel like are irreconcilable. It's not worth it. But for everyone else, I'm like, yeah, I would hire them again if I needed their service. Just because I ended their contract, sometimes it's for personal reasons, not getting along at the time, or just sometimes your needs change. But sometimes businesses have to change, evolve, get new people in. Something Dr. Axe, really emphasizes in his mastermind is that when you hire people, every employee, they have to be performance based. And whether it's, sometimes that's why you shouldn't hire family members if you don't think that you can manage them as an employee if you think it's going to get in the way of that. Yeah, be willing to evolve, adapt, and change. And when you do evolve, adapt, and change, and if it requires cutting ties, do it in as graceful a manner as you can. Because even though you don't want to work with someone anymore, that doesn't mean that they are not, a child of God. That you should be valued for just being a child of God. And another thing that Collins has noted about the most successful companies is that they valued homegrown management. The best entities, the ones that last, are those that invest in their own people and develop their talent from within and create a culture of leadership. And I think, I don't know about you, but I fully, sometimes I feel bad when I see someone who brand new taking a position or a responsibility that I felt like, I could have done that. I could have done that. Why did they have to get this person that knows nothing about the organization, nothing about the business, and give that to him or her? Is it because they have a degree? When I hire people, I've hired a lot of people throughout the years, and what's on paper isn't necessarily what's going to make the best worker. I hired this lady once, and she was great on paper. She was like, she had, I think, a master's in business, and she was like, I don't know, summa cum laude. Just like her resume was just awesome. It was shining. It was brilliant. And that means she has a lot of potential, and she's probably a great person, but she wasn't, and I ended up hiring her and working with her for a while, but it didn't work out. I had high hopes for her. I was thinking, she could be, she could manage other people for me, etc. But she couldn't for some reason. I'm not saying that she didn't have the capability to, but at that time in her life, she just couldn't. And so I had to let her go. And the person who took her place instead was someone who, he actually had a degree in something really unrelated to what I needed for my business. And they were just self-taught in the things that I needed for my business. But he was super dedicated, super open to learn and work on my schedule and adapt my methods, etc. And he had great communication, and he did great work. And so it didn't matter that he had a very unrelated degree and it was only a bachelor's, and blah blah blah. All of that didn't matter, and he's still with me. He's been with me for many, many years, and he's super reliable. And yeah, so, and he started out with a lower position, and then as he advanced, I put him in positions where he would manage people that had less skill than him, even in a lot of things, in some things, things that he couldn't do, but he was a great manager because he was just dependable and reliable and ethical and all these things. And then I would just assign him things so that he could learn and grow in his skills. And he's great. He's really great at doing that. And so I really believe in homegrown management instead of, getting someone who may look good on paper. I think it really is the best. You want someone that of the highest character as possible, because most things, maybe not everything, but most things can be taught. When it comes to business, but character, you don't have time to teach someone how to be a trustworthy, reliable, dependable, hard worker. Okay, you have to just find those people. Only God can make those people and match them up with you in your business. Okay, so in conclusion, Collins' work is more than just a tool for success. It's a guide to building entities that matter, entities that last, entities that make a difference, whether it's a nonprofit organization or business entity, or I would say even a family. Do you want a family that is going to stick together and, not hate each other when you pass away? A lot of these principles can apply to that as well. set big goals for your children, your family, even your marriage. Trust your children with important things, important tasks. Train them on how to do these things. Because one of my goals for my business is to be able to pass on my business to my children. So I'm taking that very, very literally. So I just like to challenge you to dream big, to stay true to your values, and never stop pushing the boundaries and improving yourself and your organization. Build something that will stand the test of time. Shalom.